Yeah. So, right, hello everybody, and welcome to the Practice Managers Forum on the 2nd of December, on this bright, beautiful day that seems to be really bitter and cold. So it's a lovely December day. So my name's Johnny Henderson. I'm a primary care workforce transformational program manager. I'll be taking the meeting for Kerry Porter, who normally does it, who's my other half program manager. For primary care. Just for information, we are recording the session, so if there's any objections to recording the session, if you can speak up now if anyone doesn't want it recorded. No. And just for information is, obviously we normally do a Mentimeter, but we're trialing Microsoft Forms today. So just after each if you like, we're going to be having questions, so it's a bit of like you said we did action like we've done in previous forums, and just to let you know, if you can keep your microphones off, and if there is any questions, obviously you can raise your hands, but we do have the questions at the end that tend to cover a good proportion of what the questions you may ask are. If we don't, then if we do have time, we can revisit it at the end. It is a tight schedule. So thank you very much, everybody, for taking the time out of your really, really busy schedules today to join us for this for the Practice Managers Forum. And I hope the updates today are supportive, and the updates and information are supportive for you and your colleagues in practice. So today's meeting will run as follows. We've got Kathy from the Resilience Hub to give an update on offers from the Resilience Hub. We've got Dawn from HMR Academy, that she'll be giving an update on the e-learning for health that's going on in Greater Manchester. Rowan Purdy will be coming, who's the primary care IT developer, and he's going to be demonstrating one of our new and exciting employment tools, which is the Rgm Connect system. Now, I know that we've brought the advertisement of the system to the forum, but we wanted to bring a demonstration of it for you. So Rowan will be doing that. Mary from the Training Hub, who's one of our GP clinical leads, will be giving an update around GP fellowships and GP mentors, the work that's going on that the Training Hub are doing around Greater Manchester for us, supporting that work. And then Michelle and Shenny will be here from the partnership as an introduction to menopause. And then last on the agenda is Kerry and Daniel. Daniel's from Lantham. Lantham are our provider of our Workforce Bank, and they'll be giving an update and going through the process of the Workforce Bank to support practice managers. And as we're all aware, I know that there's real big stresses out there at the moment, and there has been for a long, long time, but I know that the government announcing the extra vaccinations for the 18 pluses will impact us. So the Workforce Bank really comes in on this as a supportive tool for us. So hopefully today we've got some really good, important and supportive updates and information for you. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Kathy McGirt from the Resilience Hub to give us an update on her offers. Thank you, Kathy.
Hi everybody, thanks for inviting me along today. Can I just have a show of hands? Virtually is fine. Has anyone heard of the Greater Manchester Resilience Hub? Just so I know where to pitch this. Because I know I've come along to one of these meetings previously, but it was quite a long time ago now. Okay, so getting some physical hands as well, that's good. So for those of you who do know about the hub, I'll keep the background really short and then focus on giving you an update on the offers. So the Greater Manchester Resilience Hub was set up in the wake of the Arena attack back in 2017. I just wanted to emphasise that the support is ongoing for anyone who has been affected by the Arena attack, particularly at the moment with the inquiry that's ongoing and there being a lot of media coverage and some particularly difficult topics being covered in the inquiry. So anyone can contact the Resilience Hub and get support, whether they attended or as a professional member of the public. And it was off the back of the learning from the Arena work that we did, where we were proactively reaching out to people who we know had purchased tickets and they went public with our offer. We found that by people completing some wellbeing questionnaires and getting support from the clinical staff in the Resilience Hub, that their health outcomes improved, because we got people to complete questionnaires when they first experienced difficulties, to reaching out to people about 12 weeks after the incident, and then periodically over a 4-year period. And we found that people who accessed support earlier, their health outcomes were better, which I don't think would be a huge surprise to people. But what was interesting is that we found that professionals took longer to access support than members of the public. And it was off the back of that and the way in which we supported professionals that we were asked to see what we could do to support helping care staff across Greater Manchester in the wake of the pandemic. So the key thing, I suppose, that I'm really in to offer is that we've got that experience. We're a coalition of the mental health trusts from across Greater Manchester, and we've got both adult and child expertise within the team as well. So for whether it's yourself, and we have got practice managers who've accessed us for one-to-one support across Greater Manchester, or if there's anyone in your team, whether they have a clinical role or a non-clinical role, whether they're domestic staff, they can access support from the Resilience Hub. And I will put some links in the chat function as well, so you can find out more about us. But essentially, anyone who completes those questionnaires, they can take up to about 10 minutes to complete, depending on how you're feeling about your emotions, and then everyone will get a call back. And that's at the moment within a few working days, so it is pretty quick. The type of things that people are talking about when we last did an analysis of topics, which was at the end of October, anxiety and worries were one of the primary reasons why people were contacting us. Also, both acute trauma and chronic trauma was the focus. So for a number of people, it might have been how they were experiencing the pandemic and their anxieties, work stress was really high. But around some of the trauma, it can actually be things that have happened previously, and nothing to do with the pandemic, but actually it's something that people wanted support with. Within our top three was work stress, and I think particularly within primary care, with the changes from doing more virtual appointments and then the media coverage that there's been, as well as a number of the violent instances that have happened across Greater Manchester. I think it's incredibly normal to be experiencing work stress and difficulties. But that also, there's a difference between something being an absolutely normal response to a really difficult situation and not needing support. So, what we'd say is, do give us a call. We're not a crisis service. What we're saying is the earlier people come and get support from the hub, the better people's health outcomes. And the staff here are trained to be able to support you with whether it's, like I said, work or home or something else entirely. Often the other two top issues people are talking to us about is around low confidence and low mood, and also around motivation, which I think is, again, incredibly expected when we've been running a Ironman at sprinting pace, it feels like, for the past 18 months. So I just want to emphasise that support is still there. Our waiting times are still very short. And off the back of those conversations that you have with members of the team, they can facilitate into therapy if that's what's required, and they can take away some of that stress around trying to navigate what are often very complex health systems for people. We've also got exclusive routes into a service called Practitioner Health that is a national service. And we know that particularly with your roles within primary care, you might be doing quite a lot of work with your local IAPT, for example. So you might not want to go to that service, and therefore we can broker you into something else. There are a number of people as well who don't require therapy, but actually just want to have to talk with someone and gain some strategies and some support and be that listening ear, and that's exactly what the hub can do. As much as possible, we will try and maintain that you speak to the same person when you call back. So typically, when we're looking at data, people are getting about 5 calls, but there's no set time limit on the calls, both their individual length or the number of calls that you have. So there is a huge amount of control that sits with you as an individual and your bespoke needs. So that's around that one-to-one offer, which I've got post-it business cards that I can send to practices, posters that I can send out. We also can have staff attend practices and actually share that offer, because we can find that we get a flurry of activity when we've been able to show our faces. So rather than saying, you can call this number or you could fill out this online form, we can actually come to your practice. So I can see that someone's put in there, yes please. So the best way of us arranging to come and visit is if you email gmhelp.nhs.net. I'm not giving my own email address, purely because that is managed by administrators rather than my emails that are in a little bit of a mess. So if you contact there, we will look at trying to come out to practices. We've also got some things like stress balls that we can give out, so there's some things for the team. And in addition to attending practices, we can attend that physically, virtually. We also can do workshops for teams as well. One of our most popular workshops has been nicknamed Iron Man training, but is titled Working in Difficult Times. And it's generally about 90 minutes long. And it works really well with giving staff a bit of an intro to the service, meeting a member of the clinical team and taking away some strategies. And that can be a stepping stone for other workshops. We also offer peer support spaces as well. So we actually do some regular spaces. They're generally on a monthly basis of about 8 or so people. And that's where they're facilitated by a member of the team and people reflect on the experiences that they've had in a non-traumatizing space that's facilitated by one of our team. So those spaces can be arranged by us. So we actually do some for a group of VCSE and charity leaders. We do some for directors of nursing. So if you as a group of practice managers wanted to access something like that, we could arrange that. If actually within your practice you think that would be something that would be beneficial, again, we can pick that up. So if you do drop an email to GM Help, off the back of that, we can add you into our system as a manager and leader, and then give you a call and look at what your team needs. I'll also put in a link that if you wanted to access individual support, you absolutely can as well. And what we found is people who access the team support often want to speak to someone different about their individual needs, and again, that can be arranged. So we're a completely free resource because we're funded by NHS England, and we're actually an award-winning service as of Thursday, because we were one of the first to set up. And now this model of working is influenced the way that resilience hubs have been commissioned across the country. And so I think I've probably talked at you quite a lot there. Is there any questions at all? I never know if that's a good sign.
No, I think
that I've covered it really well or not.
It sounds very supportive what you're trying to do, and it's a really good tool at the moment. And I think there is quite a lot of focus on health and well-being. So I just had a question on. I know the partnership has their health and well-being. I know the GM GP Excellence, or the
Yes.
Greater Manchester Excellence, have their kind of health and well-being that they're tying into the partnership. And is yours kind of standalone from that, and it's more about, or is it connected into the higher?
Absolutely, it's in. So actually, Sheni, who's joining you later, we were really close with Sheni as the GM Wellbeing Lead, promoting the toolkit. So I'd say what our role predominantly is to amplify the existing offers in the system, so we can direct people into the support systems that are already there. We can also enhance it by building on what's there and actually making things bespoke, and then sharing learning across the system. So we're both additionality and complementary at the same time.
No, it's really good. It's really good because I think we did have a few providers that were quite confused with the amount of health and well-being stuff that was coming out. So it is good that they are all connecting and the questions are being asked.
And the way that me and Shani have often described it is the wellbeing toolkit that's got some great resources in there. Actually, if you read that document, the GM Resilience Hub is in there, but we can help people operationalise some things like the buddy system that's talked about in there, and the check-ins. So we can be the human that you speak to alongside alongside some of the resources.
Yeah, so it's a bit more personal, so you can actually go to sort out the issues with the person. No, that sounds really supportive.
And we work really closely with the GM bereavement service as well. So we know that there's both a huge amount of personal bereavement that staff will have experienced, as well as potentially professional bereavements as well. So again, we work really closely. And so if you find your way to us, then we can facilitate access into the right support using all assistance and levers and opportunities across GM.
That sounds fantastic, Kathy. Thank you very much. And like you say, you've put your email address, which is the first protocol, really, is to contact you at the GM help. And is that the other email address that you've put in?
So the second link I put in is actually a link to complete the wellbeing screening. So that's more for the one-to-one support. That's the second link there.
That's great stuff. Thank you very much, Kathy, for that. And thank you very much for taking time to come and speak to us about it.
Oh, no problem at all. I'll turn my camera off, and but I'll just add in a couple more links that could be useful in the chat.
Yeah, no, that sounds fantastic.
Look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, Kathy.
Bye.
Wonderful. Wow, that was brilliant. Thank you. Right, okay, so I'd like to introduce Dawn O'Brien. So Dawn O'Brien's our next guest speaker, and Dawn's going to be taking us through the e-learning for health. Is that right, Dawn?
Yes, and a little bit of a kickstart update.
And a little bit of a kickstart.
Yes, I am kickstart all the way at the moment. Hi, everyone. I think I've met a lot of people at these meetings over the last few months. I'm Dawn O'Brien. I'm the manager of Haywood, Middleton and Rochdale Primary Care Academy. And I do a lot of work with Kerry and Johnny and Leslie across Greater Manchester. So Kerry asked me to come along. I'm not sure if everybody's aware, like we'll all be aware of e-learning for health, and I don't know about everyone else, but I looked into using e-learning for health this year and cancelling Bluestream, but with the pressure of COVID and everything, I just took out the contract again for Bluestream. However, due to Kickstart, we've been researching e-learning for health and mapping all the modules. And it's just to say really that the modules are there, and now we've got the passports and other things available. It might be an idea to start using e-learning for health. There is quite a lot of modules on there that we've mapped. Can you see that, Johnny? It's saying apparently there's an issue with Teams. We've just had a big WhatsApp about it, that it won't share windows.
Sorry, I've just noticed I'm on mute. I've had an issue with Teams, to be honest. My actual Outlook's not working, so I've come through an internet-based Outlook. So I don't know if there is an issue with Teams.
Yeah, can you see that?
There's a known issue, Teams and Outlook this morning. I think it's just solved now.
Okay.
Right.
Can everybody see that Excel spreadsheet, or is it?
I can only see DO.
Okay.
Can anybody else see it, just in case it's my internet connection going through the internet?
No,
it's not sharing.
Oh, flaming Teams, not what we need. What I will do.
It is now.
Oh,
It is.
Oh, there
It
we
is.
go.
It's there.
So it's just to say really that because of the mapping that we've done for the bank staff and the Kickstarters, we've found that an awful lot of the modules are available on e-learning for health. And I, for one, am looking at not using, when our Bluestream is up for renewal next year, is not looking at that and using the e-learning for health. Now, I think I know I was put off in the past because I was told each person had to go on individually and you wouldn't be able to see their certificates and what they'd done. But actually, e-learning for health have been really, really supportive with this. They can bulk upload people. You can have back office registration. You are able to run reports and see where people are up to for e-learning for health. There's a whole host of things that you can do. And the lady that I've been working with at e-learning for health, Debbie, has been really, really fantastic at helping with everything. So we've done this mapping process, and it was just to share really that, so for example, I pay out, I think it's around about 14,000 for Bluestream for 36 practices, and across Greater Manchester, that's money that, you know, could be used for something else if we all looked at e-learning for health. So it was just to say, I know it's I do know that we all know e-learning for health is there, but I found it quite difficult to navigate around. But with their support, it's actually been really, really easy to do. and you are able to run the reports and everything. So that's taken us to Kickstart because we used it for Kickstart. So just to say thank you. So anybody who's taken a Kickstarter, we now have 64 across Greater Manchester. We started with 78. We have had some dropouts. However, the feedback on the majority has been absolutely phenomenal. And we back out. So you might have had an email from whoever is your workforce lead across GM. So whether it's Maria at Stockport, Jill at Tameside, Kirsty from Manchester, whoever else, but we're back out advertising for Kickstarters. So just to give everybody a little reminder, Kickstart is the government offer for 16 to 24-year-olds. You can offer a role in your practice. We'll do the interviewing and everything else. We pay the 25 hours a week, and there's a whole host of information, but I won't take up loads of time. But just so you've got the link, you've got until Wednesday if you're looking to host a Kickstarter. So I say there's 16 to 24. The government pays the 25 hours a week of their salary plus any extras, so sick pay, national insurance contributions, pension and all that sort of stuff. You don't have to do the interviewing. We do the interviewing for you. And I can say, I know Mary Cheshire's on the call, Dr. Mary Cheshire. The interviews went really, really well. And honestly, some of the feedback we've had off some of them, with one young man, the practice manager emailing this week to say he's done so well that they want to give him a £200 bonus in his Christmas salary to say that you've done amazing and he's been really beneficial to the practice. And of those we've got remaining, that is the feedback that we're getting now from practices, that actually they're a real asset to the company. For the next cohort, we obviously didn't know when we started this that everybody would need to be double jabbed in the NHS. We assumed that would be the case, but we didn't put that out there for the first cohort. The second cohort, we are asking the work coaches at the job centres to ask that question. Are these young people vaccinated? If not, are they prepared to have the vaccine? As that's the only way we will be able to offer a role within Kickstart. That's me in a nutshell. If there's any questions, I will share the spreadsheet about e-learning for health, but it's just something to consider if you're looking to save a little bit of money, and it's not as difficult as you think it is to navigate around the e-learning for health. Oh, thanks, Johnny. Yeah, we've had brilliant feedback. Dead proud of all of them.
Really good, excellent. Right, Dawn, have you finished? Is that okay?
Finished,
have you done? I'm not
done.
jumping in on it as long as I'm not being rude. So I think we've got a few questions that we want to ask the group. Dawn, is that right? Yeah, Claire, on the Microsoft Teams forms. So we've got a little poll that will be coming up shortly. Everyone should be able to see it.
Can anybody see that?
Yeah, no, I can see that.
It popped up.
Yes, thanks, Claire.
That's fantastic, isn't it? So everybody's heard of e-learning for health.
There's not an option for yes, I'm using it already.
Right. Well, I suppose that's a good. Maybe we should have put that on. What do you think? I think we should have. And it's great if you're using it already. It's great. So just a bit of a question around the maybes. Then is this to do with contracts, or is this to do with because you haven't seen the system yet, or is there any concerns?
Johnny, Carol's got her hand up.
Oh,
Carol
yeah,
Moran.
sorry. Yep, Carol.
Last time I looked at it, so I've not seen it with these changes. It was difficult to navigate and very cumbersome, so I stuck with Bluestream for that reason.
Yeah, I agree totally, Carol. I found it when I started at the start of the year. I thought actually it's a real pain to navigate round. Couldn't get my head round it. I thought it was more hassle than it was worth. But with doing Kickstart, actually, we've realised it's not as bad as I thought it was, and that they have a team there to assist with things. So just to reassure you, it is much easier. And we've done that mapping, so I can send that mapping out to everybody.
Yeah, I will have another look now and see.
Okay.
So if we is that okay, Dawn? If we send the mapping out, get people to have a look at it and maybe bring it back.
Yeah.
Dawn, is that okay? So maybe bring it back to a future meeting. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
That is fantastic. Thank you very much, Dawn. And it's really positive. And like you say, I've been quite close to the Kickstart work that you've been doing, which is absolutely amazing. It really is amazing. And I've been close to the pharmacy part, and the pharmacists are really, really supportive. And I think we've had like you said, we've had a really good set of candidates in pharmacy, and we're having good feedback around it. So really positive, and it's great. It's really good. It's very supportive for the service.
Thank you. Yeah, and we've just been reapproved to go for 250. So get your applications in, and we'll be doing another round come February. So if you can't do it this time, we can go again in February. But we're determined to hit that 250 mark.
Yeah. And I think it's brilliant, Dawn. I think I put myself for an interview for next time as well during this cohort. So I think I might interview a few people myself. But that is amazing, and thank you very much for taking the time to come and talk to us today.
All right. Thanks, Johnny. Thanks, everyone.
Dawn. Thank you. So just moving on then, I'm just going to introduce Rowan Purdy. So Rowan Purdy is our IT developer in primary care. Now, Rowan's been really busy of late, especially since I joined the team. So you might have heard of Rowan, or you might be using some of the tools that Rowan's created for us, which is our primary care careers website. If you're submitting jobs or any applications onto there, Rowan is the guy behind that. He's also done our GM vaccination passport, and he's moved on to his next major project, which is Rgm Workforce Connect. Now, we did bring our Workforce Connect to the idea before, and we did introduce it. So if I just give a really short introduction, and then I'll let Rowan get on with the demonstration of the system for you today. So basically, the GM Connect is for full-time employment, and it's for employees seeking work and employers seeking employees. And what the system does is the system connects the employee and the employers dependent on the information that the people put in to where geographically, which Rowan will go through all this, so I won't think, but geographically where that person wants to work. So without further ado, Rowan, if I can introduce you.
Thanks, Johnny. Can you see my screen?
Certainly can, yeah.
Yeah, you can. Fantastic. Hello, everyone. I'm just going to take you through the process for individuals who are looking for work. They'll need to register with the website, and I'll just show you that in a second. But for employers such as yourselves, we've actually pre-registered. So we've created user accounts for all of the practice managers at the general practices and all of the business managers at the primary care networks, business managers at the GP federations. And I'll be showing you how you can take ownership of your user account and your employer profile on Workforce Connect today. So for individuals looking for work, first thing they need to do is to register with the website. They complete a fairly simple form. Once they've registered, they log in and they complete a profile on Workforce Connect. So this asks some basic information about themselves. So who they are, where they're based, whether they're an employer or whether they're someone looking for work. So if there's someone looking for work, we ask them where they want to work, which primary care domain they want to work in. But if they're an employer, such as yourselves, then what we're asking is where you operate, what type of organisation you are, and whether you're looking for looking to recruit roles in a particular domain of primary care. So, for example, if I was to choose general practice, I might then say I'm looking to recruit a general practitioner or a nurse or a pharmacist, receptionist, etc. And then I can put the details of the job vacancies. So once I've joined, I can then log in and I can then I can connect with people looking for work, or if I'm looking for work, I connect with employers who are looking to recruit. So I'm just going to show you the employers interface here. So if I load the employers interface to begin with, without having done a search, we'll see that we've got over 500 employers across GM mapped on Workforce Connect. And what we've got here is every employer has a profile, and every main contact at the employing organisation. So in the case of a general practice, it's likely to be a practice manager who'd be responsible for recruitment and therefore is connected in to Workforce Connect. So if I just do a quick search and say I'm looking for a role of general practitioner at a general practice, and I want to see those practices who've actually got active job vacancies right now. So here I can see I've got the 4 general practices that are looking right now for general practitioners. So I'm just going to go and have a look at some of their profiles so you can see the type of information that we've got about the practices. So here I'm looking at the Borshard Medical Centre, which is down in Withington in Manchester, and Rob is the practice manager there. And Rob's currently got an active advert. If I click on the job vacancy, I can go through to NHS Jobs and I can see the advert there. So Rob, as the practice manager, basically needs to take ownership, and has done in fact, take ownership of this employer profile. And then Rob adds, as he's looking for different roles, goes and modifies the profile to say I'm now looking for, I've recruited my general practitioner, I'm now looking for a receptionist, I've got a job vacancy, here's the URL, here's the closing date. What Rob doesn't have to do is when he's put the details of the general practitioner role, he doesn't have to remember to come back and remove the job vacancy advert once the closing date has passed. Come the 3rd of December, which is tomorrow, that job vacancy will be removed automatically from the profile. And so in that way, people who are looking for that role, they won't bother connecting with Rob and the general practice to find out more. Let's just have another look at another one. Here we've got Littleborough Group Practice, which I think is in Dawn's area, who's talking before. And we can see that actually they're looking for a couple of roles. They're looking for both an advanced clinical practitioner and a general practitioner. So once again, we can click on the link to view the job vacancy. Whereas before we saw the job vacancy was on NHS Jobs, this job vacancy for the salary GP is on the careers platform. So this is just to demonstrate that actually the job advert doesn't have to be on NHS Jobs. If you can't, for whatever reason, advertise your job vacancy on NHS Jobs, you could advertise it on the careers platform. It could be another third-party website, as long as you've got a URL, and it doesn't even have to be a web page as such. We've got on here an example of an actual job vacancy advert that's just a document, a Word document. So providing that document's available on the web, that can be connected into your profile. So I'm just going to take you through one final step here, and I'm just going to have a look at the employer profile for Mandalay Medical Centre. And the reason is that they've contacted us through Natasha, who's based in Bolton, to let us know that they've got a number of significant number of vacancies. And I just want to show you how, as the lead for a particular employer, how you go about editing your profile to put in those job vacancies. Let me go back and refresh that. Just quickly click on that and then edit that. Okay, so I'm going to edit the profile. So once again, we've got all the details about the person who's the lead, and then we've got the details about the connections. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to select the various roles that they're looking to recruit. So I know they're looking for a receptionist, they're looking for a practice manager, and they've got job vacancies. They've got 3 current job vacancies, so I'm going to select 3. And what that brings up is it brings up 3 simple fields where I can put in the URL of the different vacancies. So I'm just going to grab those now. I've got a job advert over here for a receptionist on NHS Jobs. I'm just going to paste that in, have a quick look at the advert and see that it's the 23rd of December is the closing date. Put that in. Hopefully I don't make a mistake, and then go to the next one. So that's the receptionist. Let's get the business manager advert up. Let's put that one in. And I think the closing date for that was the 29th. Yeah, so let's put the 29th in. And then finally, we've got a final advert, which they haven't been able to put on NHS Jobs, but it is on the careers platform. So like I said, it doesn't have to be on NHS Jobs. It can be on any third-party website. So I'm just going to put the closing date for that one, which is also the 29th. And then finally, scroll down, and there are various other bits I can complete on here, but I'm not going to do that for now. I'm just going to say update. And providing I've completed all of the required fields, the employer profile will load. And now we can see that we've got the Mandalay Medical Centre employer profile showing with the active job vacancies. So we've got the job vacancy for the receptionist, for the business manager, and the practice manager all showing now. And once again, Caroline, who's the administrator at the medical centre, doesn't have to remember to come back to remove these vacancies. They're automatically removed. But what that means is that people who are now looking for those roles, for example, they could go to the employers interface and they could search for employers who've got active job vacancies, for example, in a particular locality. So let's clear this and go and say, I want to look for employers who've got active job vacancies in Bolton, for example. I search that. Let's go and do that again and put active job vacancies and search. And then we should find that those with active job vacancies will show up. So we've got the Mandalay appearing at the top there, followed by the Olive Family Practice. And once again, we can go and click on those to view the profiles. And if I'm an individual who is looking for work, and I look at the profile and I see that I'm interested in that, I can click on the connect button. What that does is that fires an email notification to both parties saying that there is a connection been made on Workforce Connect, and it'll say that Rowan is looking for work in Bolton as a receptionist. You as an employer have advertised for the role of receptionist based in Bolton, and then you can make that connection, invite them to interview, request CVs, that sort of thing. So hopefully Workforce Connect is now going to provide a really useful tool to support your recruitment, particularly at a time when there's significant workforce pressures at the moment. I'll stop talking and let you ask some questions.
That's great, that, Rowan. That's a really good system. I think we've got some pre-planned questions that Claire will put up, if everyone wouldn't mind just answering these questions first, and then we might have a discussion at the end, depending on the time. But that's fantastic, that, Rowan. It looks really good.
I can see Kay's got a question.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. So I was just looking at the practice manager section. I don't know whether this is a question for you or for somebody else. I'm just looking under the peer support, and you've got the Practice Managers Association down there. They're one of many training companies that deliver training to practices and practice managers. They're a for-profit company. I just wonder why you chose to put them down and not anybody else.
So this isn't to do with Workforce Connect. This is to do with the wider careers platform.
Yeah,
website,
just looking on that career. Sorry, I followed the link that you were on the first thing, and I thought I'd have a look at the practice manager page. So it happily lists the practice manager forum, and then it says the Practice Manager Association. The reason I'm asking is because I'm one of the leaders at the Institute of General Practice Management, which is the not-for-profit organisation run by practice managers for practice managers. So it'd be more appropriate to have that on there, probably.
Okay, by all means, suggest new content that you want to appear on the careers website.
How do I do that?
How do you suggest it? Just send it in by email to us, and we'll get that on there. So if you send it to, the email address is support@gmprimarycarecareers.org.uk, and we'll fire that down the conversation so everyone's got that. Johnny, I wasn't able to see the questions that came up from the poll. I'm just wondering, has everyone else been able to see them?
Oh, so you can see it. Sorry. Yeah, they're on my screen, and we have had submissions, Rowan. So if I just let you know what the question is. So the first question is, have you taken ownership of your practice profile on GM Workforce Connect? And we've got 75% have said no, and 25% have said not sure.
Okay, so in answer to that, is that because people don't know how to take ownership of their profile? If that's the case, then following this meeting, what we'll do in the notes is include some clear instructions as to how you basically go to a page to put in your email address. Once you put in your email address, it sends you a link. You click on the unique link, and then it'll ask you to set your password. Once you've set your password, then you can log in and you'll be able to access your Workforce Connect profile. So every general practice practice manager has been given a user account, and every practice has been given a profile, and it's the practice manager in general who is being asked to manage the profile. But if you're a practice for whom it's not the most appropriate person, that you actually got someone else who's better placed to be responsible, if you like, for the Workforce Connect profile, then please let us know, and we can change the information on the profile. So in some cases, some practices have deputy practice managers, and it may be that that person is the most appropriate person. So we saw before the Mandalay Centre as an example. They don't have a practice manager in post at the moment, so they've got an administrator who is acting as their main contact for Workforce Connect. So if you let us know who it is, who's the most appropriate person, if you are the most appropriate person and you are the practice manager, then it's a really simple process that you need to follow in order to be able to take ownership of your profile, and we'll remind you of that in the notes from the meeting.
Yeah, so we've just got our second question on now, Rowan, and thanks for that. So it's just if you have any job vacancies at the moment. Yeah, so a lot of people do.
So based on the session today, hopefully you've seen just how easy it is to add in. If you're going through the process of posting a job vacancy on NHS Jobs, there's one additional task, and that's literally to put in the URL of that job vacancy on your Connect profile. And what that will do is that will help match your vacancy in your location with the people who've registered with Connect who are looking for job vacancies. So we saw earlier the Mandalay that we put the job vacancy up for. We've actually got 2 people who have registered with Workforce Connect who are currently looking to be receptionists in Bolton. So Workforce Connect will be connecting those 2 people with the Mandalay practice already, so they can invite initially 2 candidates for interview.
Yep, we're just getting the responses back now, Rowan, from the question. If you have any job vacancies, which roles are these for? So we've got quite a few roles out there. Transformation GP, AMP, summariser, secretaries, reception, GP and AMP, GP and admin, healthcare assistants, nurse, receptionists. So yeah, we've got quite a lot of jobs that are out there at the moment. So next step wise, I think is it sending some comms out to the practice managers that we'll do.
Yeah, so it sounds like we need all of the practice managers who want to take ownership of their profiles, which is a very straightforward process, and then literally add in the details of the vacancies that you've got. What we've actually got in development, which will be coming on stream soon, is an automated process. So what I mean by that is, when you've advertised that you've got a vacancy, for example, for a receptionist in a particular locality like Bolton, as a new person comes to register who says they're looking for work in Bolton as a receptionist, that match will be automatically made. You won't have to go to Workforce Connect to see that match. You'll be automatically notified that a new person has registered and is interested in a role that you're looking to recruit in your location.
Rowan, we've just got a question in the chat, and then I'm going to have to move on for time reasons, but it's fantastic. How do I log in to see our profile and post jobs? So if we can send an introductory comms out again to the practice managers of how to log on to the system, how to take ownership, would that be okay, Rowan?
That'd be perfect.
As a reinforcement comms, because I know we've done this before, but now we're starting to really push this out, and I think we are going to get interest in it. I think we just need to keep going with that communication. So if we send out a comms that tells you how to log onto your profile, how to do the ownership.
Yep, I'll put some simple steps now in the conversation in a couple of minutes, but I'll also send something after the meeting. Thank you,
That'd
everyone.
be fantastic. Thank you very much, and thanks very much for taking the time to come and talk to us as well, Rowan. An excellent demonstration there. We're just going to swiftly move on because we've obviously a bit behind on the timescales. So I'd just like to introduce Mary from the Training Hub, and Mary's going to come and give us an update around the Training Hub work that they've been doing in GP fellowships and mentorships.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Mary.
Hiya. Oh, okay. Hi. Let me just check I've got my slides up. Let me share them. You can all see me. I can't see the chat, so you're going to have to feed it into me. It keeps disappearing. Right.
I'll keep an eye on it, Mary. I'll keep an eye on it.
Hello. I'm Mary Cheshire. I'm the GP lead for the GP fellowship, for the NHSE fellowship. So I've come in today to fill you the practice managers in on what the NHSE fellowship is, and answer any questions that I can on it. So you've probably heard of the GP fellowships, but just to be clear, there are two different fellowships. There's HEE fellowships and NHSE fellowships. The HEE fellowships are very different. There's a very limited number of them over Greater Manchester. But the NHSE fellowship, which is what I'm going to talk to you about today, is a fellowship where there's availability for anybody who applies. So it's something that's open to all your newly qualified GPs. So what is it? Oh, sorry, I forgot to introduce Rob. Hi, Rob. So this is Rob. He's the Rob Harris. He's the project admin for it, and we are both happy to answer any questions, get any emails, or as things develop and go along. If you get a fellow, contact us, say hello. So obviously not. Oh, that's no good, is it? Going to slideshow from the beginning. Ah, there we are. Right. That's going. So it's gone ahead. Right. Okay. Right. Second slide. So what is the fellowship? So it's a programme that me and Rob, working with NHSE and the Greater Manchester Training Hub, put on, that's available to all newly qualified GPs within 2 years of passing their CCT. So if you're thinking, if you've got anyone that's 2 years from qualification, it's a really good opportunity for them. And in a summary, and it's no skin off your nose, it's an easy win for everybody. So GPs within 2 years, they need to be in a substantive position with your salaried partners or long-term locums where you're paying them regularly through your payroll. And what they get is they get an additional CPD session on top of the clinical session. So you have your GPs working for you, say 6 sessions a week, and we pay them an additional session, a 7th session, to do some CPD activities. It's a 2-year programme. And it's funded, we fund them, and they're to do things like peer support. They use that weekly session to do things like peer support, learning and development, all sorts of different activities within the fellowship. And they get paid a sessional rate, a reasonably generous sessional rate of, well, it says 13,650, but what you do, it's not to cost you a penny. So you take off all your top costs from that, and then they come out with the rate, which is around 10,000 a session. And it's paid via the practice. So we pay you every month, you take off your top costs and you pass them on to your fellow. And like I said, it's available to all GPs. It's not the same as the HEE fellowship. It's not, they have to compete for it. It is available to all GPs. Please feel free to butt in with questions. I don't mind being interrupted at all. So roughly, the programme content we arrange, me and Rob and the Training Hub and NHSE, we arrange the programme content. We send them lots of opportunities, and they can make use of those within their weekly fellowship time. Now, it's not like some of the other fellowships where they have a Wednesday afternoon off to do it. It's not like that. They usually do it as an additional session, and they're all at different times. So I don't have all the fellows together on a Wednesday afternoon because that's not possible because with the way GPs work. So it's a very flexible self-led programme where they dip in and out of different activities that we put on. We throw a load of activities, a smorgasbord of activities, and they pick out what they want to do. So these are the kind of things that they do, just to give you an idea. There's 3 main pillars around support and networking. So it's to help support those newly qualified GPs, of which I am one, to give them a bit of peer support. And so we do things like induction events to get them inducted into the practice, the PCN. We give them a mentor, which is a really useful tool, a qualified, more experienced qualified GP who can meet with them once a month and mentor them. They have access to coaching sessions with us, and we have a peer support, so loads of peer support events where we get all their fellows together, either virtually or in person. We encourage them to be belonging to first 5 groups and stuff, just to make them feel loved and wanted. The other pillar of it is the learning and development. So we teach things like practice management skills, and we are fortunate to have Kay Keane, hi Kay, on board with that, and she's going to do some teaching with the practice management skills, because as a newly qualified GP, I have no idea what you guys do. I just know you work really hard, and you always seem like to have too much to do. You seem to do too much, but I don't know what you do, so it'll be great for them to have an understanding of that. There's going to be teaching on leadership, teaching on QI. They go to a course on QI, teaching on becoming a mentor and coach, and that's a really good thing for your practices, because we're teaching them to become mentors, to become teachers, to become supporters of other roles like the R's roles and things like that. So we're hoping that it will build up their skills to help in your practice. Teaching them about remote working, even though we all pretty much know how to do that now. And then this portfolio working. So this is another little aspect of it that you need to know about. In their weekly session, their separate weekly session, they need to reach out into the PCM. So a lot of the newly qualified GPs, they just like the safety of the practice. They don't like to get out into the PCM. And this gives them a bit of a foot in the door, a bit of an excuse to reach out, go to PCM meetings, find out what's going on there. And then we ask that they go and maybe sit in on a PCM clinic, something like that. And eventually, when they find out what's going on, they do a small quality improvement project within that PCM, doing that in their additional session. But it's good because you get doctors that are confident in reaching out to the PCN and working within the PCN work. So, like I said, the pillars, support and networking, this is the sort of things that they do in there. The peer events, the mentoring, that's one pillar of things that they get. The learning and development, we do that by a series of podcasts and masterclasses. Like I said, it's not all on a Wednesday afternoon, so we have to do it we think innovative ways to do that. So we're doing recorded classes. We're putting on classes throughout the year, and they can dip into the ones that work on their off days. They do courses through the Northwest Leadership Academy, and it's on things like practice management, leadership, quality improvement, etc. And then they do the portfolio work, like I explained. So linking in with the PCN and doing some portfolio work. And it's over 2 years, and it's roughly done first 6 months, second 6 months, and year 2. But we're very flexible. It's very self-led for the fellow, very flexible, and flexible for you as well. So pros and cons for you as practice managers. I've put the benefits up here. You've got, what are the cons? You're gonna want to know that as well. So benefits for you is, I think it's looking after these newly qualified doctors. There's a lot of evidence that if they're gonna leave, they leave quite soon. And so we want to retain them in their first couple of years. So it's an attractive offer for them, and upskilling them. It aims to prevent burnout, and it's flexible to fit in with you and with the fellow. We're upskilling them to be able to become more confident leaders, take on leadership roles, and also to perhaps support other colleagues with some formal and informal teaching. And that some of them will have an opportunity to do a formal qualification in mentoring, and they'll hopefully do the clinical supervisors course. So they'll be upskilled. They'll learn about quality improvement training. They go on an AQA course on quality improvement training, do a project, and they'll get those links into the PCM, which you need, because as your older doctors and your leave, you're going to need to replace them with people who are interested in PCM working. So building a team for the future. And I've not done a slide on cons, but you're going to know, what do you need to do? It is very little, really. We provide the program. So you need to facilitate the payment, which, it shouldn't be a huge hassle, but obviously is a bit of extra work for you, but it shouldn't cost you anything. And, it'd be nice for all our fellows, this is part of the GP contract, and it would be nice for all our fellows to feel supported in doing their work. So occasionally when when they really want to go to a session and it's on a working day, it'd be nice if possible. I know it's sometimes there was a bit of flexibility in their working days, not giving them time off, but moving sessions and things around when you can. I particularly ask them to prioritise the face-to-face events, of which are few and far between. But when there is a face-to-face event on maybe once every 3 to 6 months, it'd be nice if they could try and attend that. Give them a bit of support in getting into the PCN. So you should all have contacts within the PCN. They don't. And it'd be really nice for a little hand-holding at the beginning, introducing them to their PCN, taking them along to a meeting, or, you know, virtually introducing them at the PCN. And part of it is finding out what you do as practice managers. So just giving them half a day or a few hours of your time just to go through your work and the back office stuff that we don't get to know about. So I don't think, you know, it's not a big ask to support a fellow, but there is a little bit in there, but only like supporting it's only like, you know, you would want to support all your staff in sort of bettering themselves. So I think that's everything. There was a slide on here. You remember me saying how they all get linked up with an experienced doctor to mentor? We're always looking to recruit new mentors as well. So any of your more experienced after 5 years qualification doctors who want a paid session to mentor doctors, then we're always welcome to hear from them as well. So, my goodness, I was quick. I've pushed through that, but I think I've covered everything.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much, Mary.
We're running behind. I thought I'd do you a favour.
No, that's wonderful. Thank you very much. I think you've got some questions as well to ask the group. Is that right?
My screen.
So I think
I don't think. Yeah, I've got some.
All right,
questions.
Claire.
I can see them. So, have you prior to me speaking heard of the fellowship, the NHSE fellowship? So yes,
sure.
You hadn't. So it's great. So you've all heard about it now. They just pop up automatically. It seems a bit hit and miss with mine.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, Claire will.
So do you have a salaried GP within 2 years of their CCT who isn't probably a fellow, and we may be able to contact and scoop them into our program?
Quite a lot don't.
It's not come up on mine.
Can you see that? It's 86% say no and 13%. Well, it's changing. Sorry.
Oh yeah, it's come up now.
Have you got it? Yeah, it's changing. So I think that's.
So, you know, please do offer them this opportunity, because, you know, I would, as a newly qualified GP, I would have been very glad. I am a fellow, but I'd be very glad to for my practice managers to encourage this, because it makes it's very little effort on your behalf, really, and it makes them feel loved and that you're thinking about them going forward. So please do just, you know, get them to get in touch. It's a good opportunity out there for them. So now you know what supporting a new doctor is. Would you be happy to do that?
Yeah, so we've got quite a lot of maybes. We've got 58% saying maybe and 41% saying yes. So we've got no-nos, so that's really positive.
So the further information, I am very passionate about this fellowship, as you can maybe be able to tell, and I am more than happy to answer questions. And honestly, I think if you ask questions, you will be reassured. It's my practice manager doesn't have too much heartache over it at all. We're very approachable for sorting the payments out and things, and that's the majority of what you need to do.
So Mary, if we send this, because this is looking quite positive in the fact of yes and maybe more information, so when we send the minutes out, can we send yours and Rob's email address with this as a support? So if anyone's got an interest, they can contact you. Yeah. Brilliant.
So my chat is working a little bit. Does anyone have any questions that they'd like to ask me? Is this also available to GPs under Tier 2? Yes, it is. And we actually, I think Kerry is particularly keen to help with the Tier 2 applications if a person wants to become a fellow. I think, Rob, is it that it's actually positively encouraged, isn't it?
Yeah, I read the GP contracts, the general practice contract said that the aim is to get 100% of all GPs in salaried positions onto the fellowship. It specifically mentions international students, GPs, doctors coming in and doing this as they join when they get a salary job, when they stay on for a tier 2 sponsorship. It specifically mentions doing the GP fellowship.
Oh yeah, Kerry's, yes, we can help.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Is that everything? Are we all right? I'm just mindful of time, but that was fantastic, that, Mary. That was really good. And I know you went through it really quick for us, which is brilliant. And we will send an update to all the your presentation up to everybody and with your contact details. And thank you very much for you and Rob taking the time to come and present at the meeting. So I'd like to introduce, sorry, Mary, no further thing. I'd like to introduce Shenny and Michelle from the partnership. And they're going to be giving an introduction to menopause for us.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Johnny.
Thank you,
thank you so much. Just to check, we've still got about 10 minutes or so. I'm mindful that the agenda's probably slipping a little bit.
Yeah, we might run slightly over, but we did start slightly late because we were waiting for people. I think people were delayed on coming on because obviously
not a problem at all. So afternoon, everyone. Hopefully you have all met me numerous amounts of times talking about the Greater Manchester Wellbeing Toolkit, and hopefully you've listened to this slightly, on my part, cringeworthy kind of podcast, the first podcast that's going out to all primary care colleagues, which is about the toolkit itself. Only cringy because I hate listening to my own voice, but please do check that out if you get a chance. So today we're joining you to talk to you about one of the specific strands of work that we've been developing over the last few months and have got lots of activity, and we wanted to make sure that we brought it to you as a network, so A, you're aware of it, and B, if you want to participate, then you've got the opportunities to. So the area of work is around menopause. We know that 80% of our overall health and care workforce is female, and the suggestion is that probably about 40% of that female workforce is either of perimenopausal or menopausal age. So what we're trying to do is make sure that we elevate the understanding, but B, also the impacts that menopause can have on the workplace for individuals, and also how you can support that as well. So without further ado, I'm going to hand you over to my colleague Michelle, and I'm going to share some slides.
Good afternoon, everyone, and yeah, it's great to be here and share some of the work that we are going to be doing in the coming months. So the slides are now up. So this is kind of the menopause, introduction to the menopause. So as part of the activities across Greater Manchester, we've been running a series of these insight sessions, and we've run two menopause sessions that you may or may not know about or have attended. But over the coming months, there will be an opportunity to attend further sessions around menopause, picking up on emerging different themes and conversations, and it's just an opportunity to give you more insight into the subject area, whether that is from a professional point of view or whether that is a personal perspective. So as I say, it is an opportunity to raise awareness on such a hot topic, no pun intended. So our next session is with Kath Briggs, who you may be familiar with, and she's going to do a session on getting the best care for me, and what to ask professionals when you go to your GP, so you're armed with the right information at that first consultation when you go, and you feel a little bit empowered and a bit more knowledgeable, and confident in having that conversation. And also, you know, if you're having those conversations in work with your staff or your colleagues. So other sessions that we've got coming up are around nutrition, and how that impacts on the menopause, and what's the link between the two. And often we find that women are saying that they gain a lot of weight throughout the menopause, and often it's not actually through the menopause itself, it's due to the menopausal symptoms that we often are experiencing. So things kind of get knocked on the head, such as you're going to the gym, being a bit more active because you're not sleeping at night, you don't have the same energies and things like that. So the sessions that we've run so far have been really well attended. And again, as Shani said, we're a female dominated workforce, and would really recommend that you kind of come along and get this kind of taboo banished, if you like. I think there's a bit of a menopause movement actually taking place, and there's lots of stuff advertised and lots of sessions, but so it's great that we can offer that opportunity to the staff of Greater Manchester workforce. The other sessions that we are running around wellbeing are kind of looking after yourself and your teams, react sessions and things like that. So there's a whole host of different things that you can kind of tap into and look at, which will hopefully, you know, be of benefit for, oh sorry, my screen's just froze. Which will hopefully be, you know, be of benefit to you as a workforce and as a group of people. And, you know, can we just go on to the next slide, please, Shani? Is that all right? Yeah. So, you know, our ambition is to look forward and share the good practice around the networks, to cascade the learning, the resources, and to establish wellbeing networks within our workplace. There are stuff advertised on here, that lots and lots of links that you can tap into for further information. There is a PDF document that we will send after the call again, which is packed with useful resources, information, dates and links to the sessions that we're hosting over the coming months. So, you know, lots of exciting things happening, and we just need our workforce to kind of take the plunge and get involved, really. So, you know, as a call to action, we're asking you to champion this wellbeing within your own workplaces, to help us support and embed that good wellbeing practice and encourage those good workplace wellbeing cultures. If anybody's got any questions, please feel free to ask. That's it.
Okay, so all of you hopefully have our contact details. If not, what we'll do is we'll send over the PDF, which has got the slides and also all the links that Michelle's just mentioned. If we send it to yourself, Johnny, and then you can help circulate that'd be brilliant.
That'd be great.
We would love for people to be able to join us at the sessions. Gwyn, they're all at different times, so I'll put the Eventbrite link on again, and you'll be able to see kind of the times and dates for each of the different sessions, but we'll make sure it's all in the PDF that we send over in a little while. And if anyone has got any questions, or if you'd like any specific work to be done with you, because one of the beauties of this is that we're working with the Greater Manchester GP to really start looking at the kinds of things, like the kinds of questions that you might want to ask when you first go to visit your GP to get some support, or what it might look like in the workplace. We've got lots and lots of kind of accounts of women struggling in the workplace and not feeling safe enough, psychologically safe enough, to be able to talk about the impact that menopause is having on them. So so we're just trying to make sure that we can create a support network, but be also a little bit more awareness and a movement across all of our workplaces to really make sure that people aren't adversely affected by this. Thank you.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much. And it's something that you don't really tie in. You do and you don't. And I'm sure it sounds awful. It might just be me being a male.
Well, it's interesting.
Which is dead interesting, to be honest.
It's interesting you say that, Johnny, because actually when we ran the session on Monday, we had quite a lot of people, and we had men who were there either because they were supporting colleagues in the workplace, or actually more often than not supporting partners at home. So this subject isn't just for women, it's for everyone, but we're taking the support for women and then the kind of the awareness for everyone.
That's fantastic. Michelle. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, just picking up from the chat there, just interested in identifying wellbeing champion within the practice, and you know that is a great kind of way into this kind of stuff as well, and having that champion network within your own practices, it's really powerful, and it's a connect, it's a way in. You know, we can't be everywhere all the time, and I think having a local champion in your own practices and areas, they know what works best for them, so you're able to identify what is relevant, what is you know, what's going on out there, to be able to tap into. So absolutely, Michelle, and you know, if there's anything that we can do to help support you with that, then just be in touch.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for adding that in, Michelle, as well. No, it's a really interesting topic, and it's something that I think should be more widely scoped, which is great that it's getting involved in the health and wellbeing toolkit and stuff. So no, it's really good. So if we've not got any further questions, I'd like to thank you both very much for coming. And you're doing loads around health and wellbeing with all your Greater Manchester toolkit, and it's fantastic. It really is supportive. So I'd like to thank you both.
Speak to you soon. Take care. Bye.
Take care. Thank you very much. Right, I'm just looking at the time and the agenda, so we're just running slightly behind. It might be my fault. It's no one else's fault. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring the workforce bank topic, if you like, or tier back to the next practice managers meeting, because obviously I don't want to keep you longer. I know you're really busy, and we've only got you till past really. So I'd just like to just include any other business. So we've got in primary care now, we've got quite a lot of opportunities, if you like, on working groups that are arising with a lot of programs that we're doing. And what we're doing, a bit like how we started the Practice Managers Forum, we're looking at practice managers being invited or looking for volunteers to be represented in these groups. I can't give you a mass amount of information at the moment, but there's a lot of new roles that we're looking at, new areas that we're looking at. You've got the hours work. We run some groups at the moment that I will be seeking support from practice managers, so we want to get your views within these working groups. So if we do have any volunteers, obviously when we send the minutes out, if I'll put that within the update, if you like, and we'll try and get some volunteers from practice managers. Kerry, have you got anything to add to that?
No, just sorry I was late. I was lurking in the background.